CrystalCooks. If you've been following along, you know that lately I've been cooking my way through the cookbooks on my shelf and trying recipes I've never made before. Today's recipe comes from this cookbook called The Hillbilly Kitchen, Verses and Vittles by Becky. This cookbook is a little unique because it combines simple country recipes with Bible verses, which I really enjoy seeing included alongside the recipes. The recipe that caught my attention was cranberry orange scones. Becky also has a YouTube channel called The Hillbilly Kitchen. I'll link her video in the description if you'd like to see her version. But today, we're going to make them here in my kitchen and see how they turn out. For this recipe, you will need, for the scones, 2½ cups of all-purpose flour, 3/4 cup of sugar or 1 cup of allulose, 1/2 cup of butter, 1/2 cup of sour cream, 1/4 cup of honey, 2 eggs, 2 teaspoons of freshly grated orange zest, a teaspoon of vanilla, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and 1 cup of sweetened dried cranberries. For the glaze, you'll need 1½ cups of powdered sugar, 1 tablespoon of butter, and 1 to 3 tablespoons of orange juice. Gather your ingredients and add the flour, sugar, baking soda, and salt in a mixing bowl. Then zest an orange. This is always one of my favorite parts of baking with citrus because as soon as you start zesting the orange, the kitchen fills with that fresh citrus aroma. The recipe calls for 2 teaspoons of freshly grated orange zest, and that's what really gives these scones their bright orange flavor. Mix the dry ingredients together until well combined. Then using your stand mixer with the paddle attachment, add the wet ingredients, the softened butter, sour cream, honey, eggs, and vanilla, and mix everything together on the low setting until the dough becomes creamy and well combined. You don't need a mixer for this recipe, however I do when I'm making cookies and scones as the dough can be a bit thick. Next, we will fold in the dried cranberries. I don't recommend using the mixer for this part as we want the cranberries to remain intact. Cranberry and orange are one of those classic flavor combinations. The cranberries add a bit of tartness, and orange gives everything a bright, fresh flavor. Now we will scoop the dough onto a parchment-lined baking sheet. You don't have to shape these perfectly. Just drop spoonfuls of dough onto the pan, leaving a little space in between each one. I love recipes like this that are a little rustic and simple. These go into a 350-degree oven for about 12 to 14 minutes or until they're lightly golden. While the scones are baking, we'll make the glaze. In a small bowl, combine the powdered sugar and softened butter. Then add just enough orange juice to make the glaze smooth and pourable. You want it thick enough to drizzle nicely over the warm scones. Once the scones come out of the oven, let them cool on a cooling rack for about 3 or 4 minutes. Then drizzle the glaze over the top while they're still warm. I put the lined baking pan underneath the cooling rack to catch any of the glaze. Drizzle the glaze until each scone is covered to your preference. These turned out really nice. They're soft and tender, the cranberries add a little tartness, and the orange glaze adds just the right amount of sweetness. Serve them by themselves or with a cup of your favorite beverage. Trying recipes from cookbooks like this is always fun because you never know what you might discover. If you'd like to see the original version from this cookbook's author, I'll link the Hillbilly Kitchen channel video down in the description. If you enjoy seeing recipes from different cookbooks, let me know in the comments. I still have plenty on my shelf that we can explore together. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more recipes. See you next time.